Hello, welcome. My name is Felix Kreier. I'm very honored to be your host today. And this is all about the webinar about the 30 days MPN challenge. And I'm here with John and Nick. And just before I ask them to introduce themselves, some technical stuff. So we're really happy to have you on the webinar. It would be nice to have a little bit interactive. And if you look below, you have on a kind of black row with our kind of buttons, and there should be a Q&A, Vraag en Antwoord button. The chat is blocked, but you can ask questions. And the other attendees of this webinar, they also can upgrade your question and give a like to it so we know what is the most important question for it. And we will be happy to answer that. And just to start, maybe you can try the function and just put in what is your, where you're from, in which country you live. Okay, to start, Nick van Dort, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Nick van Dort, and I'm responsible for the technical part of the MPN journal. And today I will give a quick demo of the challenge and how everything works behind the scenes.
Okay, thanks. My name is Felix Kreier. I'm a pediatrician in Amsterdam, and I'm a brain researcher about lifestyle. That's why I'm here, because I don't know so much about MPN, but that's why John is here. John, can you introduce yourself? John Hoogland.
Unfortunately, I know a lot about MPN because I'm an MPN patient. So I learned it the hard way. And that's what it is. I'm an MPN patient, and I'm one of the initiators of developing the MPN Journal app and the MPN Challenge.
Okay, and let's start right away. Why did you come up with this idea, and why did you start the journal?
Yeah, so it was an idea that I got after some unsatisfying conversations with my physician. She's very good. She's very open to help. She's capable of giving a lot of information. The kind of person I am, I need to have answers to my questions. I want to know everything about my disease, not only to understand it, but also be sure that I'm treated in the right way and get the optimal treatment for my situation. And I noticed that every time I've had a consultation, it was almost always about the lab results, blood values. I'm a PV patient, so it was my red blood cell count. And then there was always the question, that was always the first question, how are you doing? And I said, okay, yes, I'm tired. I suffer from fatigue and itching, but yeah, it's hard. I'm not the person I used to be. And that was it. That was my discussion about symptoms. And that was really unsatisfying.
To be tired, is that one of the kind of core symptoms of MPN?
In the literature, they say about 75% of people suffer from fatigue, and that's MPN. Of course, you can scale it. In our app, we scale it between 0 and 10. In the app, we see it's about 78% of patients suffering from fatigue. But I don't have to explain it here because the audience is all MPN patients. It's not just being tired. It's an invalidating fatigue that takes away all your energy and makes it very difficult to live the life you were used to live. And that's something that most patients suffer with. It's the most common complaint that patients have.
So for the patient, it's the fatigue mostly, and for the physician,
there are
the
about
numbers,
15 or 16 other symptoms, ranging from itching. I don't mention them all here, but there are quite a lot.
Yeah,
and that makes it difficult for physicians also to tackle it, because they're vague symptoms. They're not very explicit. They are in combinations. They could also be caused by something else. So it's really difficult. And sometimes you don't know if something is a symptom or a side effect of the medication you're taking. And then I come to the next thing. So the first thing is I wanted to get more control on my symptoms. So I decided to start logging everything, and I came up with the idea of having an app to do that. And I was also chairman of the Dutch patient organization. And in doing so, I had a lot of conversations with physicians and researchers. And it became quite apparent that there is a lot of information lacking. Information about familiarity, for instance. We know a lot of patients have somebody else in their family who's having MPN as well. Whereas if you look statistical, that's unlikely, because it's 1 on 100,000 who get the disease. So it should be not very common that a family member has the same disease. But we see in our system that it's quite normal that there are family members as well. So there's something going on here, and we still don't know what it is. But getting that kind of data is really, really important. And then the second thing is there is this well-known list of MPN 10, which is the scoring card where the 10 most frequent symptoms are listed, and you are supposed to give that a number and discuss that with your doctor. But we see that there are many more symptoms than just those 10. And then there is a long list of side effects that people suffer from. And there is not really a clear insight in what is a side effect, what is a symptom, how often do they occur, which medications has really which side effects. I mean, if you look at the list, the formal list in your medication, it's a huge list. I mean, every medication has almost all side effects. So there is still not enough information about what kind of medication triggers what kind of side effects, maybe in combination with other medicines, etc. So then we thought, well, if we are logging this data for patients, for them, because now when I go to my doctor, I show my graph and I can see my fatigue is going up from 7 to 8, or it's going down from 9 to 5. And that makes it so much easier to have a fruitful discussion with your physician. But if we get a better insight on a global level, if everybody's logging this information, and it's in an anonymous way, so everybody is free to enter the data, they can be honest about their side effects, they can be honest if they're not taking their medication regularly, they can be honest about psychological problems they suffer. You know, we cannot map the data to individuals, so we don't know who our patients in MPN Journal are. So that gives us the opportunity to build a base of thousands of patients and logging all this information, and then finally get some better insights into the correlations and relationships between data, clinical data, personal data, medication, etc., and lifestyle.
Would you say that this approach is maybe of extra value because it's so much patient-centered? So maybe for the patient, there are other things which he or she is dealing with daily, like itching or tiredness. And for the physician, it's maybe a little bit more the numbers and the blood values, like you explained in between. And it seems like you make a match between the two parts of information.
Yes, it dramatically improves your consult with your doctor, because they are looking at the risk. They are focused on risk. You know, if your hematocrit gets too high, there is a risk of thrombosis. If everything is going down, there is a risk of progression to MF. If you're in MF, there is a risk to go to leukemia. There are a lot of risks, and their initial response is do everything to lower the risk, which makes sense. But for an individual patient, the risk lives only in the background. In the day-to-day life, it are the symptoms. So bringing those together in your conversation adds a lot of value.
Okay, that's when did you have this idea?
I was keeping information in a spreadsheet for a long time, but that was way too tedious, and I was hoping to. I was logging all kind of things, what I'm eating, what I'm drinking, and how much do I exercise. It was too cumbersome. It was too much. I didn't get any kind of usable insights, and it was in the end of last year that I met Nick. And Nick was working on some beautiful apps. I think you know one of them.
Yes, I know.
And we started a discussion about could we develop something for MPN patients as well? And that's where it's all started. And then we hooked up some other patients to give input. We have Remco, we have Marije, and we have Dolf, who are 3 patients who are working very hard on this as well. And it's really patient oriented because it's developed by patients. So and as soon as there is input from other patients, we try to implement that.
Yeah. So you built it together. So and why a challenge? Why did you come up with a challenge?
Yeah, that was another story because I was lucky enough to be forced to go to a skiing holiday for 3 consecutive weeks. That was not a plan,
3 weeks.
I won't explain how, but I ended up skiing for 3 weeks, and I was really suffering from fatigue. I used to be a very active person with a very rich business life, but after my diagnosis, it really crumbled down. Couldn't do anything anymore, and then with a change of medication, it slowly improved. But when I was on the skiing holiday early this year, I forced myself to ignore the fatigue and just go skiing. And I noticed that after 2 weeks, the third week became...
So you were very tired, but still you
yes,
just went.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I'm here. Why I cannot be in the apartment and lie on the couch. I just ignore it and just go.
Wow.
And I noticed after 2 weeks, the third week was better. And we already had a beta version of the app. So I was logging everything in the app. And I was noticing a couple of things. First of all, I always thought I was a stable patient. So my fatigue would be at 8 or something. And
because you have a number where you score how tired you
score
are.
Between 0 and 10. And 10 is worse, 0 is no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought I'm a stable patient, more or less, of 10. But when I was looking at my graph, I saw it was spiking up and down. Really amazing. Okay. So although I am a patient, I live with this disease every day. You would expect that I have a good understanding of my well-being. But my perception was wrong. It was going much more up and down than I was aware. But then I saw also that in those 3 weeks, my fatigue was really going down. And then I decided, okay, maybe I'm onto something, and I go exercising 3 to 4 times a week. I just do it. And I went cycling, running, spinning, and end of story, I'm symptom-free at the moment.
Wow.
So unbelievable. Wow. So when I met my physician 2.5 months ago, I told her, I'm working on this exercise program. I'm exercising 3 to 4 times a week. I have no fatigue anymore. And she said, oh, you're not the only one. I heard that from other patients as well. So I said, what? Really? And then we came up with the idea, if this helps for me, then maybe something like this helps for other patients as well. And then she told there were also patients who had dramatically changed the diet. She told about Joachim Baan, who is one of our ambassadors, who used to be an ultra runner, got the MPN, then was unable to do anything, and he dramatically changed his diet. I'm not going into details because in another webinar he will explain. But that really made a big difference to him. And then we had Mona, another patient, who did both, changed her diet and more exercising, and she made dramatic improvements in her abilities as well. The same goes for Remco, for instance. So we really thought we were onto something, and why not share this in a way that other people can benefit from it as well? Give it a try. We know it's personal, so we don't know what works for you or for somebody else, but just give it a try, and then who knows what comes out of it.
Yeah, I think it's such a it might be helpful, because I could imagine, I don't have EpiEN, so I don't know how it feels, but I could imagine that, and I see it with patients, that it can be very hard when you have just not enough energy as you need, and it's very difficult to decide whether you should do something, because maybe sometimes you feel extra fatigue when you did too much. So that's such an important message, that it might be even positive if you push through. And what kind of activities do you, in your case, were helpful? Was it, like you said, sports mostly?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in my situation, what I found is I need 1 or 2 times a week HIIT, so high intensity training, like spinning I use for that. And then 1 or 2 twice a week, more endurance, like running or cycling for 2 or 3 hours or so. That really works for me.
And how many hours did you do exercise versus skiing?
Almost all day.
Yeah. So you had a very really strong startup, and then you continued like 2 to 3 times a week. You told.
3 to 4.
2 to 4. Yeah. Okay. Impressive. But it could also be induced by change in diet. What did Mona, was it, who changed?
Give me a second, because I have her on the phone. I can ask her if she is able to join us.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, give me a second. Maybe you continue with, because I know. Let me talk for Mona. I know from her that she went to a presentation in Barcelona last year. There was a lecture of a Swiss professor, and who had done some research on mouses with NPN. And what he found was the effect of sugar. He was really trying to convince the audience, if you're an NPN patient, stay away from sugar. Now, I don't know if it's true. There is a lot of discussion going on about this thing. People say there's no scientific proof for this. One of our supporters is Professor Hasselbach from Denmark. He also has some scientific proof that your diet could have a very positive effect on your disease burden, so the symptom burden, but even on disease progression. And we are going to invite him as well for a webinar in the coming weeks. But Mona changed her diet dramatically and also did some more exercising, not as extensive as I do it. And she made real progress. But the last time I met her, she said it's so hard to keep it up, to keep it. I'm feeling okay now, and I see myself slowly going back to my old habits. And that's where you come in, Felix. So maybe you explain what is happening there.
Yeah. So to give you some background, this question fascinated me a lot, also in my personal life. So I was not living healthy, and I decided to live healthy, and it really worked well. It was really easy in the first weeks to change my lifestyle. But after a few weeks, or sometimes months, something strange happened. And exactly at the moment I thought, no, it's in my routine, it's working. I fall back, and I didn't eat healthy anymore, and I didn't do sports anymore. So I was interested what's happening there. And I did research at the Netherlands Brain Institute about a very small brain region, which is really interesting and helpful to understand what's happening in the brain, which can explain that. And it's called the hypothalamus, and I call it the hamster. And this region is very small, like a sugar cube deep in our brain, and it's million years old, very old. And through all the million, billion years, it always had the same function to make sure that we survive as an individual and as a species. That's what it should do. So it controls everything which is needed for that, like breathing, heart rate, it controls reproduction, and it controls also, for example, stress is a very important part of it. I will come back to that later, why that's also important, very important for lifestyle. And also body temperature is one of the things which is regulated by this very old brain region, the hamster. And what is fascinating me a lot is the hamster, you don't feel it when it's happy. Then you just feel generally nice and fine in your body. But you will know your hamster. He will introduce himself if something is happening which he doesn't like. And one of the things is like if you have a little bit too cold, if you're sitting somewhere, it's just 2 degrees too cold. Then this very nice feeling to take a warm jacket around you, that's your hamster, because your hamster calculated, this is my body temperature, this is the outside temperature, and if we continue like that, the fat tissue reserves will be burned, which is should never happen. Because the hamster thinks, in all the million of years, we know one thing for sure. Probably tomorrow we don't have anything to eat. That's the experience. It's just for a short time, but there are supermarkets and fridges, and the hamster doesn't know about it yet. So the hamster always tries to push you to preserve energy. And with the jacket, it's a nice way. It can also have a hard way. So it also regulates water in your body. If you just have a little bit, not enough water in your body, a little bit too less, then a glass of water becomes immediately like a very tasteful, delicious thing, which is nonsense. But it's your hamster who's thinking, I want a little bit more water. And I start to tell it the nice way. But if you're really dehydrated and your vital functions are in danger, if it's really very severe, then your hamster will take over all your brain, and all your good thinking and your ethic kind of decisions and beliefs will be pushed away, and you will get your water. It's a very strong force. And I tell it about the water because the same is for energy reserves, for fat tissue reserves. So the nice way of the hamster with energy reserves is these kind of ideas like, oh, I think I have some chocolate here somewhere in the cupboard. Or, well, this fast food is really cultural, very interesting, and I should know it. So these kind of brilliant ideas, that's your hamster who's trying to get as much calories as possible in forms of sugar and fat, just to make as much fat tissue as possible, because next week there will be no food. That's the way it does it. And that's a gentle way. It will push you all the time to get a little bit more unhealthy food. And there's a lot of marketing which we are confronted every day, which is targeting the hamster. And so you even want to eat more. So when you are on a diet, and now we come back to this changing your lifestyle, while it is difficult to sustain and easy to start. So when you change your lifestyle and you lose a little bit weight, then we will be okay. But when you do like a crash diet, for example, then your hamster will think that you will die because you are at a place where there is no food, which is very bad. And then it will take over your whole brain. It's really hard to do a radical change. So that's the hamster. There's another brain region which is important, and that's the prefrontal cortex. It's in the front of your brain. That's the way humans like to understand themselves. It's the region of the logical thinking, of the wise wisdom, and the good decisions. And this region is in the hierarchy of the brain higher than the hamster. So when your prefrontal cortex has thought about health and decided to live healthy, then it has the power to kind of to overrule the hamster and to say, no, today it's not ice cream, today it will be a salad, and that will be fine, because the prefrontal cortex has the ability in the hierarchy. So problem solved. And that's also the feeling I got at the beginning of these lifestyle changes. I had the idea that I found the perfect way and it will work and everything will be fine. And then after some time, uh, exactly at the moment when I thought everything is working now, I'm living healthy and it's in my routine, then I fall back. And why is that happening? That's because there's something special about the prefrontal cortex, the way it is developed. It is very strong. It can be make very complicated calculations. And that's possible because all the nerve cells and the prefrontal cortex work on one problem at the same time, which means that they collaborate to solve one thing. That means the cortex is not a multitasker. The strong thing about the cortex is focus, to focus on something. As long as you have the focus, it can put a brake and it can calm down the hamster. But there are more things in life than having a healthy lifestyle. So when you have some problems, like private problems, maybe you don't feel well, you're worried about a disease. So for chronic patients, it's extra difficult. You think about it, you try to solve things by thinking, how will it be? How will it develop my disease? What can I do? All of these kind of thoughts or business problems in your work, then the cortex loses its focus on a healthy lifestyle, loses the brake on the hamster, and then the hamster is free again, and it will behave like a teenager who's alone at home. And when it lost 5 kilograms, it will think like, okay, we lost 5 kilograms. That's what I will take back. And just to be sure, 5 kilograms extra, because this is not a safe place. And that's the yo-yo effect. So that makes it quite complicated. That shows that it's not that easy to think about it and to decide I do it. There are more brain regions involved below your logical thinking, which you have to take into account when you want to live healthy. These are two brain regions which are important, and then the last one, the third, then we have the whole picture. That's the limbic system. That's kind of a network in between the two others, and they give you the motivation to do something. So when the hamster wants to eat chocolate, it will give you a nice feeling in your body thinking about chocolate, and that motivates you to eat the chocolate. If you have a to-do list in the morning, what you want to do from the prefrontal cortex, and in the evening everything is green and you checked all the boxes, then your limbic system will give you this satisfying feeling that you did well. So that's how motivation works. And there are also other things in this brain region, limbic system. It's about social context. So it's called peer pressure. So what is family and friends thinking about it? It's about routines, which is really important, memory and routines, and also rewards. These parts are organized in the limbic system. So what we did is, and I did it together with Martin Bieseveld. We wrote 2 books about this, and together with Nick and John, we built a technical program, the Hamster Brain program. And what it does is that with this knowledge in mind that you should attack the 3 brain regions to live healthy, we developed some small tasks for every day, and every day a different brain region will be targeted. And by doing that every day in small steps, and by address these brain regions together, we see that there's a bigger effect than just attacking one of the brain regions. So just giving an example, to just attack the prefrontal cortex, you would explain that a salad is healthy, which you should do, but not only that, because the hamster is just not interested in this kind of knowledge. Knowledge doesn't care. But cortex means planning. What will I do tomorrow? What will I eat next week? Can I do my shoppings in advance, my groceries, so I'm not hungry in the supermarket? These kind of things, that is prefrontal cortex planning. A lot of different things. Hypothalamus, for example, there's also the biological clock involved. So sleeping is part of that. Not making radical changes because of the yo-yo effect. There are some kind of daily tests about that. And the limbic system is, for example, doing it together with others. That's why I like this idea to do a challenge together. It's about routines. It's about memories. About that you get some rewards, and these we mix that and put that into these daily tests, and that's called the Hamster Brain Program. We could work together to work the that and the MPN challenge. So that's basically what it is about the hamster.
Thank you. So how is this program built up?
Yeah, it's built up that you maybe Nick can show us something from that.
Yes, of course. 1 second. Let me share my screen. Oh, it's not working. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. Okay, so I will give a short demo of the challenge. At the end of the MPN journal, you can start the challenge. And once you click on the button to start the challenge, you will see at first the starting day. Well, I took day 3 for this demo. And to start the daily task, you can simply hit the button start. Let's do that. And the first question is, would you like to take a moment to reflect on yesterday? And it will ask you a question about the task you did the previous day. You can do the question, or you can simply skip it if it does not fit into your day. Well, let's do the question of yesterday. Well, the question is, think back on yesterday. What kind of movement did you do? How did it feel to you? Was it easy, difficult, or pleasant? Well, I did a small walk for 5 minutes. It was great. So after answering the reflection question, you will have well, a small background information about your brain. This is based on the book The Hamster in Your Brain. And each day there will be a different background information. It could be a little piece of information, but we also have some extended articles, and you can just choose whether you want to see the full article or if you want to well, keep it by the short summary of that. After that, you can continue, and you can choose whether you want to do a small task or a long task, depending on the time and energy you have for that particular day. So let's do the short task. So, well, it's asking about my virtual pantry. Well, what stands out the most when you open the door? Because only healthy products. Is a mix of healthy and less healthy items, or only unhealthy? Well, to be honest, I think that would be a mix of both. And that's it. You're done with your daily assignment. Once you are done, it's important that you click on Close Day 3, because that will bring you back to the MPN journal. And it brings you back to the menu, where you can also check your dashboard to see all the things you have given the last couple of days, weeks, or months, depending on the time you started. So that was the small demo.
Thank you. So what you see is that you have small tasks, but you also can choose a longer task. It's more important that you continue than that is every day an hour, but because that's not realistic. And it seems sometimes really easy, small things, but they really add together because they are built from this background of how it's working in your brain. And you also get some practical things, but also sometimes some background information. It really will help you to make a change in your life with your lifestyle, which is sustainable. So which you can keep for a longer period, because that's difficult. Radical change in the beginning is easy, but it's really difficult to sustain for a longer time. So we're really excited that we can offer this. It's free. It's available in 12 languages. And Nick, can you explain? You don't need to install an app, right?
No, you can just go to the mpnjournal.com and you can sign up for the MPN Journal. Inside the MPN Journal, once you are registered, you will get a link. And with that link, you can open the MPN Journal on any device. It could be on your desktop, it could be on your mobile, on your iPad, well, anything. And once you hit the link, you can just start filling out the MPN journal. And at the end, you can start with the challenge if you signed up for the challenge. And well, one important thing I want to mention, and I forgot it in my demo, is if you miss a day, you can simply stay on that same day. So the next day, if you come back, or the day behind that, you can just resume from the day that you were 2 days back. So if you miss a day, it's not a problem at all.
Felix, I have a question for you, because I know that this methodology that you've developed with Maarten was used for diabetes patients and obesitas patients. Could you tell a little bit about results that you've seen?
Yeah, what we see is that people stick to it for longer periods, and we did some questionnaires for people who joined, and the people who answered the questionnaires, that's really positive. That we have results of more than 20% of positive effect, and we are running some more long-term studies to give it to understand more about the results. But that's also why I really like to collaborate with you together, because your setup is really in this mind to offer something, but at the same time to measure exactly what's going on. So that's also something we are looking forward to get from this challenge. So we have like 5 minutes left. I don't know if one in the audience, there are some questions you want to answer. So in the down, you have this V&A. And I have a question from Shark. Welcome. He is asking if you consider to involve long COVID patients with this methodology. That's really interesting. John, I see you are enthusiastic.
Yes, we are trying to connect to them. There is a lot going on about long COVID in the Netherlands. It's hard to get there because there are a lot of different forces working there, and we have decided to wait another 2 weeks when we see some results of what we are doing with this challenge and with the amount of patients we have in our app. But long COVID is one of our prime goals to extend it as well, because I have been suffering from long COVID myself, and I know how hard this is, and I know for sure that the kind of lifestyle interventions can be really beneficial for long COVID patients as well. So answer is yes.
Yes, it comes something to my mind. I totally agree, and I saw as a pediatrician long COVID children, patients with children with long COVID, and they reminded me on the Epstein-Barr virus patients, which is a virus. When you get it as a young child, it's you can handle it easily. If you get it as a teenager, you can get very tired. And now I make a link for my, which is just an idea. So what is very sad in the beginning, physicians would say to the long COVID patients and also to this Epstein-Barr virus patients that it's pure kind of mentally thing that they feel tired, which is, as a brain researcher, it's really strange to talk that way. Like you have a body and then there's something else, which is the mind. It is one thing. There are blood vessels going from the heart to the brain. There's a continuous interaction between your brain and your rest of your body in milliseconds. It's firing the hormones everywhere the same. So and we know from the Epstein-Barr patients and also from the long COVID patients that a lot of organs show kind of inflammation and irritation, and that makes you also tired. So I don't know anything about MPN, but in my mind, I could imagine that it's also a physical thing, and that's because you cannot solve it with one trick or one golden pill. You could, by changing your lifestyle in a positive way, you could help to feel more and more energized. So it's really interesting to look also for other diseases for that. Thank you. We have a reaction from Shark again. And he said, one of my life challenges is that I feel difficult to mark the level of tiredness at any day, and especially what level of tiredness is caused by PV and what part by other reasons. John, can you respond?
Yeah, it is difficult. That's something that we can't take away. Although I think that Shark also will recognize that being tired from a exercise point of view, so physical tiredness feels totally different from the invalidating tiredness you get from MPN. It's really different. It takes away not only you feel tired in your body, but it takes away your initiative. You feel blurred. You don't take initiatives anymore. And for me, it has always been, if this is what I feel, then I know it's my MPN, because this is totally new to me. I never had that before. Feeling tired because you were busy or there was too much to do or so, just feels a little different.
Okay. Yeah, important question. And maybe it's good to mention that you also on the challenge have the possibility to connect. And we look very seriously at any reactions which are there and suggestions. And we have also a reaction because we are at the end of the webinar, but I want to mention that Bia Valentina sent us and she published an article about self-care and new self-assessment tool in Italy, and she's asking to integrate it maybe into the journal. Thank you very much. We will for sure look at it and also send it maybe to the MPN communications. Maybe you know this article. I don't know it, John. But
No, I don't know. But we
yeah, but
will
thanks
have a
for
look at it,
the.
of course.
Yeah, we will react to it. Okay, so last question from Shark, and then we stop. He started twice a week 2 hour fitness with a friend, so he's forced. So that's your limbic system. The limbic system. Your friend is your limbic system, and the remaining part of such day, I haven't energy to do something more, but I still feel good about it. Well,
let me give you one. Let me give you one anecdote to Shark. There is another MPN patient helping with this. It's called Remco. Remco is a patient which, and he allowed me to speak about this, so I'm not telling anything he isn't aware of. But he has more symptoms than I have, and he is a stable patient. He is really, but at very high levels. So he's having a very hard time. And when I told him about my results in the effect of exercising for me, he said, I'm going to do this as well. And after more than a month, he said to me, I'm sorry, John, for me, it's just not working. He used to be a very high level badminton player on the national level. He started playing badminton again, but for him, it didn't help. Maybe diet or maybe nothing helps you. And then we had a meeting 2 weeks later. We had a meeting about the app, and accidentally he showed his graph. And then I saw in his graph everything going down, 50% lower than before. So I asked him, Remco, what's going on with you? I said, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, but it starts to kick in. So sometimes it takes a little time. So maybe Shark, maybe after another month or so, you can see some positive results too.
Yes, that's a very hopeful message. So thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed it. We will do more webinars for sure at the 15th of November, same time, 7 p.m. Europe time, Central Europe time, and you will get the invitation for that. Something I forgot, John or Nick?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.